I've never had a legacy conversation with you outside of like hinting at it, because I'm the one that what happens in this series, I'm excited to then recalibrate the pyramid and where this stands the test of time with history. But as currently, Jokic hasn't won a title, but where is he all time? If you have it like fresh in your head,
without the title,
like 2 MVPs and all the impact metrics.
Top 30.
Okay, so we're at the same spot. I think this will recalibrate my top 20 because I again saw one of the talking head shows. I think it's one of the Fox ones that was like, where is he now?
What did they say?
Well, Chris Broussard called Dirk overrated, and I can't get there with that. But like, there is a conversation: him or Dirk, him or Garnett, him or Barkley, him or Malone. And I mean, I'd take him over Malone right now.
Well, I have him top 30 because he's 27. Like,
yeah,
he's so early in his career. He's like basically just entering his prime, which is scary. Like, we have at least 5 years of Jokic prime, a minimum, like coming up. And he's already been the best player in the league from age 25 to 27.
Do you think that because he's a center, that's a little different though? Like maybe his prime started a little early? And maybe it ends a little earlier than a
possibly, but in this day and age, I think he can carry a prime to 32, right? Like, we're seeing some of the smaller guys carry primes into like 36. If we look at guys like Curry, we look at guys like Lillard. Those guys are still at their peak and they're in like their mid to later 30s. Obviously LeBron's a whole, I'm not even going to include him in the conversation.
LeBron's I'm not an anomaly. Yeah.
I'm not going to include him in the conversation, but I think we're seeing guys extend their primes a little later. So even if it's shorter, I think 32 is like a safe age to say, okay, he's going to start to decline. I don't think he's going to decline before his 30s. I think he's going to still be really good because a lot of his game is not predicated on athleticism. It's predicated on being big, strong, smart, agile in some ways, and being able to anticipate and having amazing touch. And those things are not going to deteriorate into his early 30s, I don't believe.
Well, that's the important part for me with history. So Michael won his first title in year 7. I believe he was 28. Might have been 28. Yeah, he was 27 or 28 years old when he won his first title, but he won it in year 7, and then that started a run of dominance. LeBron won it in year 9, and then I think he was 27 because he came into the league obviously out of high school. So
18.
By the time he got to Miami, he was 25, and then so he won it the year he was turning 27. Then Steph didn't win it until I believe the same age. Steph won his first in 2015. He's my age, so that would put him, 2015 is 27. So like 27 is around the age these all-time greats usually when they're first. Like the ones to the side are like Kareem and Magic, who won it like in one of their first 2 seasons.
Right.
And then also, like, Magic won a lot more in the 80s because he was with Kareem throughout the 80s. And, like, that was honestly a knock on Kareem throughout the 70s. It's like, yeah, we're winning the MVP every year, but you're not winning the championship because these well-built out teams. There's some other stuff involved with America. That is also why,
of course,
the 70s are different. But the point being is that this is around the time when an all-time great player begins to assert a run of dominance. So to your point, probably top 30 now. He wins a title. He joins an exclusive, like 2 MVPs, 1 championship club, and potentially a finals MVP club. And the list of guys to win 2 of each is even smaller. So if he does get 2-3 championships, I think we're just to call the shot early. And here's I actually do like Jokic. My campaign to be let into the club.
What you got?
I think we could be looking at a top 10 player about to win his first title, and it's going to be interesting to see, especially as Denver is so perfectly set up to keep this team together and this roster intact, and to see where the challenger is going to come from in the West, and then potentially who's going to be the challenger in the East. if this is going to be like in a reign of Jokic, and then we'll all get to look back at the 2023 MVP and be like, remember that time the Jokic was stopped for winning 6 straight MVPs because Perk said everybody was racist. Yeah, and look, I'm guilty of this too. I thought it was as close to a tie as it possibly could be, and went with the narrative of like, Embiid really wanted this, so I'll give it to him, acknowledging the fact that like it's not clear cut. He's the far and ahead MVP. I just thought,
and I will say, I will give you, you did acknowledge that. You also had Jokic as your MVP for a very long time until closer to the end of the year when Embiid started to assert himself more. Jokic kind of slowed down. The Nuggets, I think, lost like 4 games in a row, and Jokic wasn't playing at the height of his abilities. And so
to me, I was 13 over the final 26 games. That was the thing I went to. Like they put it on autopilot at a certain point.
They did put it on autopilot. I was looking at it in the aggregate. I thought Embiid closed it at the end, so I totally see that position. But I think he was too far behind to close it at the end. That was my opinion. But I totally think that Embiid was coming back for the potential MVP. And
I understood that take. Like my buddies over at the Hardwood Knocks podcast, also a Blue Wire pod, Dan Favale and Grant Hughes, they both had Jokic as their MVPs and made that point. Like, yes, Embiid has been on a heater for like 5 months. There's no number I can point to outside of points per game that says he ascended past Jokic. I can't go there. And they obviously love the impact metrics that you do as well, which far exceed. Like, I actually want to do this one day with you, maybe like give you a homework assignment, like with the impact metrics that are available through the last decade, who's your MVP? Because like Chris Paul should probably have 2 MVPs at this point, based on the impact.
I would love to do this. This is the nerdiest, best thing that you could ever assign me, GMAC.
Well, so like, I know you're a baseball guy too.
Yeah.
And I still, for me, translate the MVP to like the narrative of a season while recognizing it has like data has to matter too. But like, so 1961, Mickey Mantle's like metrics, like advanced metrics, when you go back and look through his baseball reference page, it's actually like he's underrated at this point. I think
it's nuts.
He's one of the 6 greatest baseball players ever, and that might be low.
Yeah.
But like 1961, he has a 10.5 WAR and leads the league in like all the slash splits. Like hit 317 at an OPS over 1,000, and he finished second in MVP. Why? Because Roger Maris broke Babe Ruth's home run record.
No sense. Roger Maris was nowhere near the level of Mickey Mantle.
At all. You're right. Like, the better player that year, the better hitter that year was Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
But you know what the number one story of 1961 was, XJ? That Roger Maris broke Babe Ruth's home run record.
Yeah, so I can't get behind that.
And that's what I can get behind, which is where it's fascinating to the Discord.
Sure.
Like, so Mike Trout's rookie year, where he has that 11 WAR season, and it's like so clear he's the best player in baseball. Miguel Cabrera wins the first Triple Crown.
You know how livid I was about that?
Oh, I was so happy. I was like, so yes, the Triple Crown still matters, damn it. Okay, who cares?
Arbitrary.
Is a foot to the left or right.
Gosh.
I don't care. And so, listen, I've changed. I've evolved. I still think he was the most valuable player of the season that year.
No, that's fair.
Mike Trout has since ascended to arguably the greatest baseball player ever.